Sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, MD, Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, MD.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AIM Impact on Your Health. AIM Impact on Your Health for every day our goal. To have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AIM Impact on Your Health is heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AIM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and of course, where we do encourage you to call in to join in. In fact, it's been quite a while since we've been able to allow you to do so. We're going to open them up today. Anything on your mind is okay with me. We open those phones up for you today. I've got some things on my plate I want to bring to you. Whatever you'd like to bring to us certainly is going to be well appreciated. The number to do that is always 412-825-6262, 412-825-6262. Be waiting to hear that knock on the door. Now, up and coming guest Monday. Just got this one scheduled. It's going to be interesting. I think you're going to want to not miss this show. We're going to have a special guest with us, a medical doctor, Hannah Solomon. Anyway, she's known as Dr. Hannah. She's a pediatrician, but what she has espoused and what she is very much behind, I've looked at her website, are nasal washings. In fact, she's called this nasal washing. So safe and simple, even a 3-year-old can do it. Well, I'd like to listen to her description of all the reasons why you could benefit from it. You're just using a saline solution. And I think what I've read so far is that there's a lot of importance behind her message. So on Monday morning, we're going to be with Dr. Hannah Solomon talking about nasal washings with the proviso is that it is so safe and simple, even a 3-year-old can do it. And you'll want to be with us on Monday morning when we bring her aboard. The rest of the calendar is filling up. I did try to get a hold of Cass Ingram. You know, he said, look, I'm coming out of the woods. Use this number. And when I tried it, I didn't get any answer the other day. I'm very persistent. I'll continue to attempt my contact with him. Hopefully he'll pick up today and we can get that time scheduled with Cass about his book entitled Natural Cures for High Blood Pressure. I don't know if there's anything new on the Jim Navarro front, except to say, keep checking in with cancerbusters.us, which is a site put together by Jim. Puts a lot of work into the site. We're one of the links on the site. If you go to cancerbusters.us and look at the on the links, the radio show we did with Jim on 23rd is linked right to his website, and certainly it's up and available now. So anyone who would like to listen to the show, maybe missed it, maybe wants to hear it again, maybe wants to hear that terrible story about the saga of this family in the early part of, well, just as we turned the page on 2000, things were moving along very fast, and that message that came home to me once again during my show with Jim on Monday was that you as a parent have no say, literally no say, in the kind of treatment that your children could and should receive. You're allowed to choose for you, that's for sure, as an adult, but you're not allowed to choose them for your children, at least according to Jim, and with respect especially to cancer treatment. So the release of the up-and-coming documentary, which is going to be at the, here it is, I got it there. The Mill Valley Film Festival. I don't see many of you rushing out to the West Coast to Mill Valley to be there. Just keep in mind it's going to be between October 7th, October 17th. It's an 87-minute documentary with Peter Coyote as the narrator. I understand we, of course, asked him about it. People are getting awful upset when they've had some previous screenings of this documentary because it has dredged up the big question, which has been laying underneath the surface, not answered, just left alone since the passing of young Thomas Navarro back on November 19, 2001. Yes, the young boy was silenced. The issue momentarily went away. Some people weren't even aware that there was an issue. They're being made aware of it now, and they're going to continue to be made aware of it with this documentary, and hopefully with the ultimate intention of Jim Navarro is to finally take back to Congress the Thomas Navarro Patients' Rights Act, which will do away with this inability of parents to make a decision with respect to their children's treatment course and allow parents to be completely involved in that decision-making process. As it turned out in the case of Navarro's, they had the body politic, the U.S. government, the FDA, and all organized medicine literally chasing them and trying to force them into something they did not want. So we'll give you more. We'll be bringing Jim back to you before the 17th to find out everything new that we've learned. I understand we'll have a chance to talk to Beth Clay, Administrative Assistant for Representative Dan Burton from Indiana, very influential on healthcare matters back there in the early part of the 2000s. Actually was able to go visit him in one of his congressional hearings on autism, and it certainly was a rewarding experience for me. Anyway, Dan Burton's still in the background on this one. Beth Clay has moved on. She's no longer the administrative assistant for Dan Burton. She's involved on consulting on her own and now is intimately linked. Hopefully we'll find out how intimately linked to the Thomas Navarro Patients' Rights Act. And if there's anybody can help guide this through Congress and knows the ins and outs of Congress, it'll be Beth Clay, and I have no doubt about her ability to pull that one off. Anything on your mind is okie doke today. We're allowing you to set the agenda. We had an interesting show, did we not? With Dr. James Roberts. A whole bunch of issues came up. I'm going to sort of tick through a number of these, especially this issue of Coumadin. I tell you, it happens so often. Patients of mine are coming to me not very happy that they've been placed on Coumadin because they suffer from a arrhythmia known as atrial fibrillation. We're going to talk a little bit about what we learned from Jim. I thought it was good news, and I'll bring that good news back to you. We're talking more about vitamin K. Looks like vitamin K, as I said, I thought that vitamin K will become, and is certainly looking as though it is becoming, the hot designer, in vogue vitamin of 2011. Jim was the first to mention vitamin K. Actually, it's in his book, Reversing Heart Disease Now. Quite a lengthy discussion back then when that book was originally published. Vitamin K wasn't the hot, sexy vitamin that it's now becoming. Anyway, I find it showing up on Mercola's site. He's promoting it, and once Joe grabs it, you know that there'll be plenty to run with, and he's run with it quite a bit, talking about vitamin K. So look, let's take a short break. When we come back, I'll be listening for your knock on the door. You may want to call us up in the meantime, 412-825-6262. We'll get you on in here, 412-825-6262. We will be back in a moment.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instructions, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you were looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dentist J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what to eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Fruit of the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit of the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith, let Fruit of the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call us now, 1-800-442-3793.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. Heard here on KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. Friday's a special day around here. We call this the Get 'em Up, out-of-town version of the show. We always look forward to, when it's possible, and it usually is possible, to allow you, our listeners, to come on in and set the agenda and get some curious issues that you may have roaming around in there off your chest. And get answers to those questions. Hopefully, if I don't know those answers, I'll tell you what, my listeners will. And you'll be sure before the show is up, somebody call in and be right on point. The number to do that, 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. Anything on your mind is okay with me. Came across this, speaking about Joe Mercola, caught my eye, caught my ear. The byline, cancer's favorite food. And when I looked on this site and read on, I wanted to bring you the message that I think is an important one Joe was trying to bring, but it harkened me back to the days when I was a resident at West Penn Hospital. Many of you know I did my residency training at West Penn, and in my first year it was my medical rotation, and I had to make the rounds on many a day with the attending physician of various internal medicine practices. And I'll never forget the day that we walked. I was walking with one of the attending physicians. We went into the room to see a lady who had a diagnosis of cancer. One look at this woman it's a sight I never will forget. Unfortunately, you may all too well know the sight I'm about to describe. This poor woman was down to skin and bone. She was cachectic. That's the medical terminology for that kind of wasting that's going on. She was very weak. She was just obviously in the throes of the terminal stages of her disease. And the attending, looking at her as he did, made a decree. And the decree was, he said, look, this woman, I want her to have 2 milkshakes a day. Because look at it. Because she's wasted away here. She's got no calories. She's got no nutrition. She needs something sweet, something good. 2 milkshakes a day. And you know what? I thought, geez, that was good. That probably is going to be helpful to this lady. Turns out he didn't know, and I sure didn't know either, that was probably the worst, absolute worst thing that one could do for somebody in the throes of cancer, especially in those terminal stages of the disease, because you might as well be throwing gasoline on a fire. Cancers love carbohydrates in any form, but in particular, cancers love sugar. And those 2 milkshakes, just to be about enough white lightning to throw on the fire to stoke those flames up in a way that, well, I think literally would have hastened this woman's exit out of here. I never forgot that. I continue to recall it today. The various patients that come in to see me, we talk about, what to eat, what the proper diet is for someone who's concerned about issues of cancers and malignancy. But Mercola's site, cancer's favorite food. We'll get to that in a minute. But I do hear a knock on the door. So come on in the store. Hello and welcome aboard.
Good morning, Doc. How are you?
I'm well. How you doing? This Faith? Yeah, know that voice anywhere. What's on your mind, Faith?
Well, I have a couple comments on your last couple shows, and I have just wanted to announce this first on your show so that we kind of get this scoop out to you listeners since we have such a good connection with you. But David and I are going to come back on KHD and do a radio show on your station.
Oh, you're...
We just do it on Wednesdays, every Wednesday at 3.
Well, now, there you go. When's it going to start?
We come back and do it on KHB.
Well, you should be with the KHB family. You started there. When's the show going to begin for our listeners? Next Wednesday. What's the theme of the show?
What's going on with the farmers market, but a lot more with, any of the newest technologies, and of course energy medicine is a big one for us, and but Living Green with Faith will do anything that touches living a more holistic, healthy lifestyle.
Well, there you go. I'm happy to hear it. I hope all you listeners of this show will dial Faith up. This is on Wednesdays at 3, huh? And it begins next Wednesday.
Yep, September 1st.
September 1st.
Come on, because, there's different people that listen at different times of day. We'll have to have you come and, put your 10 cents worth in.
Oh, I'll be happy to. Yeah, well, we'll schedule that sometime. I'll be happy to come on board and yuck it up with you.
Well, thank you. And that would be great. So I think we're looking forward to it. It'll be nice to be back there. And I got a couple other little things for you. I don't know if you know about this. Remember Mother Earth News?
Yes.
The magazine? Well, believe it or not, they have like a 25,000 person saturation readership here in this area.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I had the same reaction.
Yeah, I didn't. That's quite a bit.
Quite a bit. And so they're doing their first ever national fair, and they're going to do it in our area. And they're doing it at Seven Springs Resort. It's going to be at the end of September, the weekend of the 24th, 25th, and 26th. The actual, all of the speakers and everything take place on Saturday, Saturday 25th and Sunday the 26th. And tickets are cheap for the entire all day, 2 days. It's $25 for both days, or $15 for one day. The fair has everything you could possibly imagine in sustainable living. So they've got alternative energy sources, they've got farmers, homesteaders, publishers, they've got everything to do with living green. So believe it or not, their keynote speaker is Francis Moore-LePay, who was the food guru from the 60s, Diet for a Small Planet, Recipes for a Small Planet. But they've invited me to do a weed walk. So there are plenty of weeds up there, absolutely. That's Sunday, right before Francis Moore-LePay that morning, Sunday morning at 9:15, right after breakfast. We'll be doing a weed walk. First, we'll do a slide presentation and let people see what the weeds look like, so they know what they're going to look for out in the woods. Then we're going to go for a hike for another hour out around the conference center, close by, but it's all woods when you get out there, so there'll be lots of neat plants. And then Francis Moore-LePay will be on. And then at 2:45 that same afternoon, I'm going to do a workshop on how to make tinctures and oils and vinegars with some of the wild plants that I show people how to get.
So that, if anybody wants to mark the calendars, that is the event of the year as far as
What's the dates again so they can mark them?
25th to 26th.
25th and 76th, a Saturday and a Sunday.
Yeah, it looks pretty gorgeous up there.
Oh, at that time of the year, yeah, it would be.
It's going to be a fabulous weekend, and you know, you can always stay up there for the weekend. I mean, it's easy for all of us to drive up there. But I thought that would be really, a lot of your listeners would really enjoy that. It'd be fun to see you up there. But then also, we're doing our Third Street Gallery deal.
Oh, you're back in Carnegie.
Yes, on September 10th. Now, this one is special because we're going to do our talk. We're going to do it at 7. Our talk will last till 8:30. We'll run questions till about 9. But then we're going to go over to the gallery. We're going to do it next door to the gallery. And then right after that, there is an art show opening that night. And it's for a really cool event. It's called the Art of Carnegie. And it's all these different ideas. You know, all the artists' different renderings of what Carnegie is to them. But it's not the cityscape. It's really cool art. I mean, sometimes it's just a person or, you know, a flower, but it was what we've gone to it the last couple of years, and the art is wonderful. It's my favorite show that he does. Probably almost my favorite show besides this stuff over at 3rd Street.
Now, still going to have that music there?
Absolutely. Live jazz and free food. What can you ask for more?
Oh, you can't ask for anything more. That's on the September the 10th.
That's it. Friday night.
A Friday night, which is a better night because the last time they usually had these on Wednesdays or Thursdays. It was midweek. Now people can sort of linger a little bit and can go and really have the weekend to recover from one of your events.
That's right. And you know what? We're going to continue to do them on the first Fridays of every month, and we'll have jazz. But this one is on the 10th because of Labor Day. And also, since September's Local Food Month, I'm going to do a thing. We're going to be at Peters Township Library on the 29th, and we're going to do a whole talk on one of your favorite topics, local, eating local, buying local, and we're going to do the down and dirty on the local farmers, because especially in Peters, some of those farmers are highly touched, exciting, and using.
Oh, do you have the down and dirty information on all the farmers there?
I don't have it this second, but we're in process of making different trips, but yes, I do, and I'd be happy to, if you want me to come back and do some of that for your listeners on your morning show. I'd be happy to give you that.
Absolutely. Okay, Faith.
So, two comments on your last Jimmy Roberts.
No, James Roberts, yes.
James Roberts, well, you call him Jimmy.
Jimmy, a little affection there.
You know it personally. And Tom Navarro. Thomas Navarro, that sounds fabulous. For anybody who has any thoughts of going to Mill Valley, I used to live there.
Oh, so you know about this, huh?
What?
You know about Mill Valley's Art Festival or Film Festival.
It's a long time running. It's a fabulous film festival. I highly recommend if anybody gets an opportunity to do it, to go out to it and be there because it's just the place itself is awesome. If you go up on the hill in Mill Valley, you can just look out and you can still see Alcatraz out there in the day. So it's pretty cool and high quality film festival. And I thought once that opens up, you might want to offer a showing here with your connection to Tom. You might be able to get a showing going here of his documentary.
Hey, we'll see if we can swing one of those. That's right. We should be able to swing that.
Yeah, and James Roberts, when he was talking about his quantum health, that's what Dave and I do. That's what we've been doing for the last 7-8 years. And that's
we never did get to that discussion because we were talking about so many other things. I promised to come back and talk about quantum well, the quantum well, whatever that is.
That is exactly what we're doing. So people got it in their own backyard here.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so.
All right, Faith.
So just to get Tom Navarro back on, somehow that connection on his side, very, very hard to hear.
Oh, you know, Bill told me about this. I don't know what it was. I'm hoping that Jim Roberts, was there any problem with Jim hearing Jim?
No, I didn't have a real problem with that one. It was Thomas Navarro.
Normally the dad is so loud that we don't have that problem, but somehow he mellowed out. Anyway, we'll bring him back and I'll make sure he speaks up loud. Thanks so much for your call. We have been brought up to date on Faith and Dave.
Thanks, Doc. We're enjoying the show.
Okay. There you have it. The Fishers are back. And they should be on the KHB family. I'm happy to hear they are back. We're back with you. We're here on a Friday version of the show. As you can see, it's rather loosely constructed. We let you call up, talk about anything on your mind. It's okay with me, 412-825-6262. We're talking about a couple of issues that came across me via the Joe Mercola website. And that led to the discussion of my residency training program and giving milkshakes to a cancer patient. Turns out Joe mentioned cancer's favorite food. We're going to take a short break and come back, and I'll let it out of the box. I'll let you know what Joe feels is cancer's most favorite food, backed up by science and research. What do you think it is? Be back in a moment to find out.
Want to help your family eat healthier? Instead of learning to disguise kosher with Wondrous Way, how about some real nutritional power? If your family has the typical American palate for fries, pizza, and burgers, giving your family the blessing of good nutrition is a struggle. Fruit of the Spirit is the answer for your family's nutritional needs. Fruit of the Spirit is an all-natural whole fruit puree made from fresh fruits native to the Holy Land with alkalizing minerals. Fruit of the Spirit was 5 years in the formulation, the work of a team of top nutritional experts with independent science to confirm its antioxidant power. 1 ounce a day provides the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and minerals. Fruit of the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. Even your picky family will sing the praises of Fruit of the Spirit. Give your loved ones the blessing of good nutrition. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instructions, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you were looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Hey, good morning and welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health here on this Friday version of the show. We call them a Get 'em Up Out of Town version of the show. We allow you to come on in and set the agenda if you'd like. Give us a call at 412-825-6262. Anything on your mind is okay with me, health related or not, actually. Always interested to hear what's on the minds of our listeners. So we're waiting for that knock on the door. I wanted to conclude sort of opening a can of worms. Joe, with his website, was getting me to conjure up images from my residency training program by his byline, Cancer's Favorite Food. Now, as it turns out, you're not going to be surprised. I wasn't surprised when I read this, but in keeping with what I had mentioned a moment ago about sugars and carbohydrates of those types being such an accelerant to the development of further malignancy, and really the worst thing you possibly could give to a cancer patient. That attending didn't seem to know that. I really didn't seem to know that. I thought he was doing something very humane. Turns out, in retrospect, that was not a great idea. But here's the byline from Joe. Pancreatic tumor cells, talking about that, use fructose. Here comes fructose again. And we've had a lengthy discussion over the last month about the role that fructose plays in a lot of negative ways, of detrimental ways, to human body metabolism and physiology. Pancreatic tumor cells use fructose to divide and proliferate, according to a study that challenges the notion that all sugars are the same. Tumor cells fed both glucose and fructose use two sugars in two different ways, so says the research. This could explain why other studies have previously linked fructose intake with pancreatic cancer, one of the deadliest cancer types. Here comes the issue of fructose again. According to MSNBC, Americans take in large amounts of fructose, mainly in the form of high fructose corn syrup. There's the rub, folks. The corn industry is not happy with the references made to high fructose corn syrup because it is used in just about anything you can name. A mix of fructose and glucose, that's what fructose corn syrup is, that's used in, here it comes, soft drinks, breads, a range of other foods. If a politician, regulators, health experts in the industry have debated whether high fructose corn syrup and other ingredients have been helping make Americans fatter and less healthy. I think the verdict is in from our perspective about that, but that fructose has now been implicated as the sugar that cancers respond to in the worst way. The most is the new link, the new rub, and Joe happened to mention it, that the foods that cancers love, well, sure it's sugars, but in particular, it's fructose and not glucose. So, we'll bring that one to a close. Wanted to pick up, because I asked this right out of the chute when we were with Dr. James, I called him Jimmy, I know, Dr. James Roberts on our show the other day, and boy, I hope you enjoyed that show. I really enjoyed spending time with Dr. Roberts, sort of ticking through one subject after another and after another. But the first subject is one that's come across my desk and in my office quite frequently. I have a number of patients who either recently have been or have been diagnosed with atrial fibrillation, and it has caused them to have their doctors insist, and I mean insist, that they go on a Coumadin regime, and it is, especially for my patients, one of the worst things that my patients respond to in terms of, I mean, they are health-oriented, they are thinking healthy foods, they are looking for supplements, they are looking for every single edge, and then comes along this AFib, and their doctors make such a big fuss about taking Coumadin, which is rat poisoning. It's called warfarin, and they just are miserable from that point on. Now, wanted to bring to you the message of hope I think you heard from Jim. Two points. One, when it comes to the ages, they say anybody under the age of 70, that's a key, under the age of 70, who develops AFib, who also can have even hypertension along with it, maybe on a blood pressure med, these folks are at very, very low risk for developing clots if they did nothing. If they did nothing at all. Yet, using the protocol that Dr. James Roberts and Dr. Steven Sinatra helped develop, which he elaborated on the other day on the air with us, which is taking your appropriate dose of fish oil along with an appropriate amount of either nattokinase or belucolumbrokinase. He mentioned them both. I think Dr. Roberts was one of the first to document this other form of clot buster, and he did label them appropriately. He called them clot busters. They don't interfere with the bleeding process. They don't put you in any additional risk should you be in a trauma, should you have a car accident, should you have a fall. If you're on Coumadin, you're in bad way. You're going to have some trouble, because with that traumatic event, wherever the body was injured, there's going to be blood loss, there's going to be bleeding, and a person on Coumadin is not going to be able to control that until they've been given enough vitamin K to compensate for what Coumadin had deteriorated. Dr. James Roberts was quite clear about the mechanism behind how Coumadin works, and essentially it chews up your K2 to the point where you can't clot anymore, and your bleeding times, your prothrombin times become very much protracted. This is the therapeutic endpoint that the conventional medical community is searching for when they place somebody on Coumadin. They are concerned about developing clots and having an additional event when patients have atrial fibrillation. But I thought James Roberts was quite clear. In this population, under 70, with minimal other issues going on, even though there may be some cardiovascular issues like hypertension, the chances of an event, if you do nothing, is 1% of that group will have an event. Bring into the mix now the use of the fish oils in the dose that we were talking about, either 1 gram or 2 grams per day, along with appropriate dosing of nattokinase or beluca-lumbrokinase, and I believe, as Dr. Roberts believes, that 1% gets completely erased. The issue of what to do in a patient over the age of 70, in particular over the age of 80, I thought the interesting research that Dr. Roberts mentioned to us was that if you're under 70, this had this one, and very little else going on, this 1% factor of events if you did nothing, and if you were over 80, that number rises to about 8 or 9%. Now that becomes significant. And of course that's still talking about someone who, instead of taking Coumadin, would actually do nothing at all. And the levels of additional events rise precipitously after the age of 70 and up to the age of 80, to the point where what was 1% factor could literally be increased up to 7 or 8%. That's significant. He said this is the group of people that he anguishes over. About the only thing that he did mention was that in the next couple of years, and he's going to be a trial center. Right now he is trialing a new drug. It is a pharmaceutical preparation. It will involve involving protracting your ability to clot. It won't be by measuring your prothrombin time or your INR, which is currently the method being used. Instead, it's going to measure something called fibrin split products. We won't even get into that. But it won't have this connotation of rat poisoning. And it supposedly is much more mild on the system, and we'll be hearing more about it. But I just wanted to bring that message to those folks. And I know I'll be seeing you here in the office, patients who are currently on Coumadin because their doctors insisted that they go on it. Maybe that the bringing to reason the actual statistics of the kind of problems that can develop, and putting that in context, 1%, if you did nothing, is a pretty low number. If you can bring in, as Jimmy said, either nattokinase or beluca-lumbrokinase, along with fish oil, this should go to literally nothing, and you should feel good about it because the research will back you up on this. And that was the first issue I hit with him. I wanted to bring it to you today. He utilizes something called the CHAD system, and that was assessing values of points based on what your current medical status was. And where you have a CHAD score of 1 or 2, which under the age of 70 is a 1, and hypertension is a 1, and allowing you to be under 2 says you should have very little problem if you did nothing. But if you needed to get the assurances that even you could level the playing field completely, then by bringing in what we believe to be the appropriate treatment, as well as had been described in the book written by James Roberts, Reversing Heart Disease Now. There's an entire section there in how to take it, how much to take of either nattokinase or beluga lubricanase. And I thought that I would return to that discussion today. All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, let's see if anybody wants to knock on the door. Anything on your mind is okay with me. 412 825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. We'll be back in a moment talking a little bit more about ECP, which James Roberts elaborated on considerably when he was on our show on Wednesday. Be back in a moment.
This is Dennis J. Courtney. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instructions, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Through the Spirit. The blessings of Through the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith. Let Through the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Through the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Through the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. Heard here on KHB 620, of course, each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. We're here with you today on a Friday version of the show. It's a get 'em up, out of town version of the show. We let you call up and set the agenda if you have a mind to. The number to do that, 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. Give us a call. We're in the gun lap. We're coming around the home stretch. We've got about 15 minutes left to go. It's usually the time when folks, after they've heard enough, go, you know what, I'm going to go give them a call now. Anyway, I'll be waiting to listen for that knock on the door. Spent some time with James Roberts because I'll tell you, I think he's got 3 different ECP machines. He's been using his over the last 15 years. He is so comfortable with that as a tool. I know that we've mentioned it here on our radio show. I wanted to ask him about the other improvements that he's seen in patients who are on ECP. You know, it's approved for angina, but there's so much more benefit for other things other than just angina that I thought I'd ask him about it, because you just can't be working in the realm of having patients who are ill, who get up on the ECP machine, they do that 35 treatment regime, and then you hear the improvements, and he listed quite a few. Just to point out to you what they were, I asked him about peripheral vascular disease, in particular neuropathy. No question, he said, no doubt about it. People who have difficulty, he says the standard reason why no one should be surprised if in fact their peripheral neuropathy improves or goes away, is because blood vessels, areas of the body are being revascularized and not just exclusively in the heart. Of course, that's where the angina component comes in. That's why this procedure is so helpful in angina, in coronary artery disease, but they cannot, and nor should they ever want to try, limit the benefits to the heart and the vasculature heart alone. When you do ECP, all the vasculature, every bit of it, no matter what the organ involved, is going to be benefited and going to be revascularized in a way that it will not be in any other modality that you would proceed with. So, mentioned peripheral vascular disease, and you would know whether you have this by one of two things, either something called intermittent claudication, which is a fancy word for you walk and you get pain on walking, and then you stop, you rest for a moment, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, the pain goes away, and then you walk some more. This symptom of intermittent claudication is a hallmark sign to arterial blood diminishing, blood flow diminishing in the extremities, and it can be greatly benefited through the use of ECP, so much so that the intermittent claudication just go away. Also, too, there's numbness and tingling in the extremities. A high number of patients who do ECP notice for sure an improvement. Some people have a complete reversal of. There are very few who get no response. That more than likely might be due to the fact that we might catch them very late. And although that's unfortunate, although we'd like to see that they did get a benefit, the fact that they didn't get a perceptible benefit doesn't mean they got no benefit at all, because the revascularization of all of the organs took place whether or not it was early enough, in time enough, to rescue the neuronal structures of the lower extremities. I mentioned kidneys to Dr. Roberts. He said, absolutely, kidney disease. I've come to realize that folks that might have a creatinine level, it's a blood test that sort of tips me off to what the health of the kidneys are. Normal creatinine level is 1.0. There's a rule of doubles that goes along with a creatinine level. If somebody happens to have, instead of 1.0, a creatinine level of 2.0, that would mean that 50% of the kidney function is now gone. And as the numbers go up, there's a proportionality between that number. If there were a creatinine of 3.0, that would mean that 2/3 of the kidney function is gone. Anyway, I can tell you that I've come to expect, in fact, I'm pretty greedy about the fact that increasing creatinine levels are tremendously impacted upon by ECP. So I say to those folks out there, especially ones who are diabetic, who see their creatinine level rising, who have doctors who are looking at their forearms, getting them prepared mentally for the shunt creation that they'll use for the hemodialysis that's around the corner. I can tell you that that's an ominous sign, and we can rescue so many folks from ever having to get that far with it. So, I mentioned it to Jim. He said, absolutely. Memory loss issues, I thought this was a wonderful corollary. You remember when we had Prevagen, and we brought the founder and inventor of Prevagen, really not the inventor, because the substance in Prevagen, a calcium binding protein, which comes from jellyfish, is something that's recreated in his product. But I said, I know that I've had such great results in memory loss issues. When it comes to ECP alone, I just wonder how things will go whenever we're able to team up the use of Prevagen, which I think the gentleman made a pretty good case for, with ECP. Nonetheless, with ECP alone, memory issues do improve. Heart failure, congestive heart failure, greatly aided and assisted, greatly improved through the use of ECP. Dr. Roberts mentioned the visual acuity I can tell you I have a number of patients whose vision improved dramatically, so much so they were going to their eye doctor. The eye doctor was doing fundoscopic examinations through photography. There's a way to take a picture of the fundus of the eye, which is the back of the eye, the retina of the eye, and those doctors who have that set up frequently follow their patients by taking fundoscopic pictures at intervals, whether that's once a year or twice a year or whatever. And so I can recall more than one case, but one case in particular when a patient who's a personal friend of mine went to his eye doctor after doing ECP, and the eye doctor says, "What the heck have you been doing?" He said, "What do you mean?" "Well, the fundoscopic photograph that we're taking here no way resembles where you were a year ago." And it was only then that my friend thought, "Well, I wonder if that ECP has been able to help my fundoscopic examination that well." Of course, he felt that his vision had improved to go along with it, but that there's objective information that keeps on coming up over and over again to support the fact that visual acuity can improve. And by virtue of taking these fundoscopic pictures, not all ophthalmologists take them, but if you do have an ophthalmologist that takes them, you would want to get a photograph of the fundoscopic look at your retina before you start ECP, and then get another picture after it's concluded. Also, too, Dr. Roberts mentioned hearing. The hearing acuity also has increased. The list goes on and on and on and on. ECP is just something I feel so strongly about. I know that Dr. Roberts also does. He's been doing it for 15 years. We've been doing it, I want to say, about 8 years, 7 or 8. And we just are tickled to death with the results, and we love bringing that particular modality to you. So if you're interested in ECP, by the way, come on and see us so we can have a chit-chat about it. Ultimately, what will have to occur, of course, is that the ECP referral will need to come from a cardiologist. We utilize Dr. Oliver Caminos to evaluate our patients so they get that cardiology referral. Once the referral is obtained, this is a completely insurance-covered, FDA-approved procedure, and we enjoy being able to offer it with the non-economic constraints, or the economic constraints literally removed from it, because it is a completely insurance-covered modality. Come on and see us so we can talk about it some more. I'd also recommend that you just Google it up, go to ECP, and Google ECP. There are 3 or 4 companies that make ECP machines, but look for Vaso Medical. They have a very good video on it, on their website, actually showing someone who is undergoing ECP while they shot that. And I think it gets you adjusted for how benign and how literally easy it is to undergo ECP, literally resting on a bed 1 hour at a time. You're approved for 35 treatments, and it's something that everybody can handle. I've had patients as old as 96 years of age be able to jump up on that device and do this quite easily, quite well. Okay, so we talked about that. We talked about vitamin K. He did mention, I didn't realize that he's been involved with diet programs. It's a new one for him. He wanted to tell me off air, and he certainly came back on air, talking about Dr. Roberts now, putting his full support behind the use of HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin. This is the Dr. Simeon's approach, really revealed to us by Kevin Trudeau in that famous book that was, it's been about 3 or 4 years now since infomercials were abounding. You couldn't turn the TV on any time of the day or night without finding Kevin hawking his book on the subject of the weight loss. The book was entitled The Weight Loss Cure. We have copies of it in our office. It turned out to be one of the best ways to lose large amounts of weight in a safe way. And I thought that was the point that Dr. Roberts really needed to drive home, that the safety of this by utilizing such a small quantity of a naturally occurring hormone, the fact that it's protective, the fact that it is allowing you to lose weight from your bad fat areas only and not allowing you to lose weight from your good fat areas, which you must protect at all costs, I thought was another feather in the cap of this use of HCG, and want to thank him for bringing that to my attention also. Okay, that's sort of the rehash of what we did with Dr. Roberts on Wednesday. Don't forget on Monday, as we come down to the, literally coming around the home stretch, and still can take a call or two to get a mind to it, 412-825-6262. But looking forward to our Monday guest. Her name is Dr. Hannah. I have to watch how she wants her name pronounced. Dr. Hannah Solomon. She is a board-certified pediatrician. She's simply known as Dr. Hannah to her patients and friends, and graduate from University of Missouri Columbia School of Medicine in 1986. Completed the University's Pediatric Residency Program in 1989, and for the past 20 years, been involved with treating kids at the Solomon Family Medical Clinic in Columbia, Missouri. We're going to be talking about nasal washing on Monday. Okay, you hear that bongo in the background, signaling our time out of here once again. Look, I hope you have a great weekend. I think weather's supposed to really be cooperating. Things are going to be heating up. I think they're down here again. We'll see you on Monday where we cool things down. We wash them away with nasal washings. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long for AIM Impact on your health.